Start it.
Now, Southwest Florida, you are looking live here at the Stars Complex. Lee Pitts Live is here to cover the Unity in the Community basketball, celebrity basketball game here that's bringing in a lot of NFL football players here at the Stars Complex in Fort Myers. Put on by Jay Styles of Star 95 FM, the People Station, and the Stars Complex. The NFL is out here. Speaking of the NFL, here's a guy that I have to run around the galaxy. The whole galaxy, people, to get an interview with Earnest Graham, Florida Gators fame running back, Tampa Bay Buccaneers fame running back, high school coach now famed. And what's the name of the high school you went to, Earnest?
The high school I went to was Mariner High School.
You're not coaching there, though, right?
No, coaching at North Fort Myers High
Okay,
School.
Would it be extra pressure if you were coaching at your own high school?
No, it wouldn't be extra pressure, actually, man. I think it's a lot of pressure where I'm at right now.
Okay, you said North Fort Myers?
North Fort Myers, yeah.
Okay, how do you do, okay, let's back up. We don't get Earnest Graham every day. You guys might see I'm real comfortable with Earnest because I interviewed Earnest when he was in maybe elementary school or middle school before he went on to become famous.
Sure did.
And so we go way back.
Yeah.
I got to pull out some of that old video, man. Earnest, man, you maintain that same personality since you were a little kid.
Appreciate it.
Tell me what in your household, I know something went on, some adults taught you that.
Yeah, my mom, man, she always, taught me how to go about, my business, in regards to staying humble, in regards to letting your work speak for itself. So I'm somebody that's always busy, and when you're working hard, working hard, and what you get from that type of work is its own reward. So, for me, it was never about talking. I always felt like, talk was cheap, but, if you were indeed doing good work, that it would show for itself. So, my mom led by example. I try to lead by example. And I try to just build value in regards to everything that I do.
Now, you went off and became successful. You are living back here in your hometown. You live in Fort Myers now, huh?
Yes, I do.
Tell us about that. What inspired you to actually come back home? Is this something you always had a dream to do?
Oh, yeah, I always had a dream to. I always just thought it was, I know all the kids use the word all the time, real, but, I just thought it was the real thing to do is that, you have a set of experience when you grow up, a place intimately, and you try to come back and bring that valuable information in regards to how you navigate a place, how you go from A to B or A to Z and be successful. And my uncles and my family were great role models for me. So my uncle, Doc Carter, who
ran the pharmacy.
Yeah, my uncle Doc Carter.
And his son,
Edward.
And
my uncle Frederick Carter. He was a long-time educator. And grew up here in the community. My first cousin, Edwin Carter, he's a principal now at Pelican
Edwin had a little
Elementary.
Basketball game back in the day.
No question,
Edwin,
man.
I'm shouting you out, man. I used to kill you at the wide open. Go ahead.
They were all community guys. I used to see my uncle Doc Carter. I used to see him walk the streets of really Fort Myers, checking on everybody. Doing. Man. He was awesome. He was awesome. So. That's where I got that from. I just used to see them doing that and I always aspired to be that.
If I'm not mistaken, Doc Carter was the first black pharmacist in the area.
That's right.
I got to interview him way back in the 90s.
That's right.
Well, the fun I've had with this television show. I want to still get more on you before we get into why you're here today. When you were in, I think when I interviewed you in high school, at that time you were already a prodigy. I mean, you were like one of the top running backs in the state and all these other trappings, all state, maybe all American at the time. You were still grounded. Did you envision at that time, or were you one of those people saying, hey, I can't, there's no guarantee that I'm gonna become an NFL player? How were you thinking as a youngster at the time?
I knew there was no guarantee. I didn't think too far ahead. I don't think you can think too far ahead and really pay the kind of attention you need to pay to your craft. So I was always, when it came to basketball, baseball, football, I was always really absorbed in those things, just really trying to be the best. I played on a lot of different travel teams. I always took my education seriously and all those things. But I don't think you can really think that far ahead, because there's, you have to first of all be the best amongst the competition that you're around. And then once you go to those levels, you pick up things and then that allows you to have success. But I always try to keep one foot forward, man, and take advantage of what's in front of me.
How did you make the decision? Because I remember the first time you came on my television show, you were a little baseball player, Little League Baseball, over there in the Michigan Housing Project. I didn't remember it, but you remembered you had come earlier. Then you came back as a football player. When did you decide that you were going to, which sport you were going to focus on?
Well, I initially went to play both sports at the University of Florida. When I was graduating high school, I had a choice between actually going to pursue my education and being a student athlete at the University of Florida and going in the first round of the baseball draft.
Okay.
That year, the Philadelphia Phillies had 2 picks in the first round.
Well, you learn new stuff here on Defense Live.
Yeah, and they wanted to take me with the second pick in the first round, but I would have had to give up football entirely. So I decided not to, and to go to the University of Florida. I had a deal to play football there. Coach Spurrier just thought it was best that I didn't. I mean, baseball. Right. He thought that I didn't. I shouldn't. So I didn't. I listened to him and didn't. I wish I would have kept going somewhat, but it turned out all right. So
now, I know you were running back in college and in the pros, but in baseball, what position you played?
I played all the outfield positions. I pitched a lot, growing up, but I was mostly a outfielder.
Now, in high school football, you played defense as well. I
played linebacker and running back. Yep.
Now you were better running back than a linebacker.
Some people say I was a better linebacker in high school, though. Yeah, I could hit. I was running the hit, man.
You prefer hitting or not hit?
I prefer hitting. To be honest with you. But I ended up being a pretty good running back, and we had some really good years in basketball there too. So I had some chances in all 3 sports.
Oh, you had some basketball games too?
I had some
you don't know this, but I just see you running around with Teddy Dupay in high school.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if you and Teddy came on my show together, but I saw y'all later on together. But I just see you running around with Teddy Dupay, but I didn't know you had a basketball game.
Yeah, no question, man. I can play a little bit.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Now let's go to local high school football. I think the last article I read that your high school football team was doing pretty good.
Yeah, we did pretty well last year. We were undefeated in the regular season. We ended up losing in the second round of playoffs, but it was the first time that we went undefeated in 23 years. First time team had been in the playoffs in like 10 years. It's been a lot of work, but last year it all came together.
Now you took control of that team about 3 years ago.
Last year was my 4th year.
And now you undefeated.
Yeah, we did last year.
Take me through season 1, season 2, season 3. Tell me about the wins and losses.
So we were 5-5 our first 2 years. Following season we were 7-3, and then we were last year we were 8-0 technically because we lost 2 games due to the hurricane, but we would have won those games. So we ended up going undefeated in the regular season, but it was a process. I didn't have any experience before I became a high school football coach, and you're leading young men. You're every single day you're counseling them, mentoring them, and then you're trying to also be competitive out on the football field. It was a lot of work, but it's been a lot of fun.
What's the prospects for 2018-19 season?
Got a really good team coming back. I think the teams, we play in a tough district. We play in a tough district, I think, in all 3 counties. But, we have a really good chance of winning our district again.
Now, do the students, I know they can read about you, but do they know of your legend?
Yeah, they do know. They do know. And it gives you a lot of credibility once it comes to really teaching the game. When a lot of the coaches come around from different schools, they'll talk to them about, mostly the most important thing to me is that they talk, about how I was kind of as a professional, as a collegiate athlete. And that's important to me because it says to the kids that, I walk what I talk, my mom, again, another thing that my mom told me, it gives you credibility with the kids.
I want to go back to you in baseball when you had the opportunity to go into, I guess it'd be AAA or AA or minor leagues, all that, right out of high school, and start getting paid. You weren't going to get paid big time until you get to the bigs, but you could take your skills straight from high school and start earning money. What's your thoughts right now about, in general, we hear it in baseball, basketball, about players being able to go straight from high school to the pros. What's your thoughts about that?
I think it's great. I think in regards to basketball, I think you're good enough. I mean, if you are good enough right now to be able to go and make a living, you need to be afforded the opportunity to do that. I think it's the same thing I think there's different ways that you can structure collegiate athletes actually being compensated. I kind of believe in, maybe something upon graduation, something that's merit-based, but collegiate athletes do help conferences and do help schools make untold millions of dollars. Granted, getting a free education, which is not free, but getting an education, it definitely it has a lot of value. But these guys are producing a lot more. A lot of them are contributing to jersey sales, all these different things. I also right now I'm coaching baseball as well, so I'm also coaching out at Dunbar Little League. And I plan to help build up the league and also do a number of travel teams, because I think baseball around here has also obviously been on the decline, but I think there's a lot of untapped potential in regards to baseball in the community. So that's one thing I want to help bring back to the forefront.
I'm glad you raised baseball. You know, I didn't grow up in this area, but you know I'm a pretty well-known athlete, swimming, tennis, football, basketball. But I didn't play baseball growing up. Right. It was popular at the time in the 70s in my neighborhood. Right. All the cats, Ernest, that played baseball, they played all the other sports well.
Yes, no question.
People who played other sports didn't necessarily play baseball well. No. But the cats who played baseball, they were good at basketball, tennis, swimming, football. Question. Why is that? Hand-eye coordination
Hand-eye coordination, and it's one of the ultimate skill sports. Soccer is one too, but it's one of the ultimate skill sports in regards to you have to fail all the time. So you have to really perfect your craft in regards to hitting, in regards to fielding, in regards to catching the ball. So you learn in baseball how to perfect the craft. So you learn the process of, how do I technically get really good at something? So when it came to shooting a basketball, technique wasn't that difficult of a task compared to hitting a baseball.
Same thing running back, just instinct.
Same thing, you know what I mean? Same thing with throwing the ball as a quarterback, same thing with, certain positions. So baseball is really technical, it's really analytical, and it's a lot about situations. So guys in baseball do have kind of...
And then you're always thinking.
Always thinking.
Okay.
Yep.
Today they had a football clinic this morning. A lot of NFL players came out. Jalen Watkins and some others came out this morning. Were you out there this morning?
I was not out there this morning, no.
Okay. But now we have a basketball game with NFL players playing in it, as well as some community leaders. These type of events, you saw those as a child.
Yes, I did.
Who came back to the community when you were a kid and you said, man, I can't believe I'm looking at Dion or whoever?
Yeah, Dion did. All those guys were around, like Richard Fain was around, Warren Williams. I knew, saw him around his family. It was a number of guys that came back. Walt Wesley. Walt Wesley is one of the, the biggest, leaders here in the community. More kids need to, obviously they see him walking around 7 foot tall, but more kids need to, look him up and understand what he did as a collegiate athlete and what he did as far as his education is concerned. But those are always guys that were around that I always saw that I wanted to kind of emulate and again, do what they did in regards to, coming back and helping out the community.
How important is it, these types of things, when you come back and get back to the community?
They're huge, so for kids to see you, kids to get immediate inspiration, in regards to, okay, that's somebody who came from the same situation I did and was able, to play at the highest level, was able to educate himself and able to be a success. It's huge, you know what I mean? So it's something that you can't put a price amount on or a real value on, but it's big for these kids.
For those of you who are joining us late on radio, we're talking to NFL great Earnest Graham, product of Fort Myers Dunbar community, outstanding running back with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Florida Gators. Earnest, I can tell that you are pushing at academics at school, just from talking to you right now. How are students receptive to that? Is it a different type of student now than when you were coming along, or you just have to take them step each time?
I think the possibilities are different. I mean, I just noticed, kids have they can accelerate, their academics right now. Meaning, my daughter's in high school, a 9th grader, but she's already on path to, to take classes at FSW and FGCU. I mean, I've had kids on my football team who are already, 2 years out of. They go into college with credit for 2 years already, and they're done within 2 years. So there's a lot of possibilities there. I know they have virtual school, all these different things. Kids are able to learn more online. So it's not as traditional, as it was when we were in school. There's not as much grunt work in regards to being in the books. You still have to do it, but there's also so many other aids that kids should be aware of, you know what I mean? So it's less of an excuse, which is great. You know, I try to just really tell the kids, you guys have less of an excuse because every turn, whether it's in your phone or whether you're at home on the computer, you have something that you can get information from and actually become a better student and learn your craft. So those are one of the big things that I just try to get with them on, is just the awareness that they have a number of tools to be able to succeed.
Good. I noticed you brought your kids out here today. Why was that?
Have to, man. I try to bring them and keep them involved in the community. My son actually plays for for the baseball team at Dunbar Little League, and it's an important event. I mean, you look around, you see guys like Joseph Noah, Jay Styles, you know, different people who are doing a lot in the community, you know, here at the event, and I'm just another. I always feel I'm just another guy.
Yeah, you act
I'm
like
just another guy here, man, and I just enjoy being around.
What are you thinking now when you look at the new generation that has gone on now and made it into the NFL, the Sammy Watkinses of the world, the Jalen Watkinses? You saw them come up, right?
Man, they're awesome. First of all, those guys are fantastic athletes. I talked to Jalen, you know, quite a bit, and again, those are guys that are, you know, the younger generation. You know, it's like chains in the link, you know what I mean? It's like links in the chain, excuse me. In regards to guys from my generation, guys are older than me, like Dion, and you got the Sammy Watkins, you know, and Jalen Watkins right now, and then you've got a number of kids here in high school. You know, they're all important. They're all important to the community. So to be able to be here and see those guys and all that stuff is great.
How is it that a little small town like Fort Myers can produce so many great athletes, particularly in track and field and football?
Yeah, it's in the water,
I came
man.
from a big city, man. We rarely ever had an NFL player come out of Birmingham,
yeah.
from Birmingham, man. Roll Tide.
It's in the water, man. I mean, guys around here can, you know, one is just our speed and our ability is definitely on a different level. I tell people all the time, you know, Deion Sanders changed the cornerback position. You know, Javon Curse changed, you know, for the most part, defensive end position.
They're not just average football players.
They're not average guys that come from around here.
Right.
You know, Sammy Watkins is unbelievable. You know, he's one of the most dynamic, explosive players in the NFL.
And so humble.
Ain't no question, you know. So it's just, it's in the water. It's one of those things you can't explain, man. But, you know, pound for pound, there's a lot of really good players that come from this area. So, you know, you have to take your hat off to what's going on down here.
Okay. Well, Ernest, I'm looking forward to bringing my television show out to your school, maybe covering some of your summer practices.
Yeah, that'll be great.
We need to connect on that and just kind of see what you're doing and kind of set up out there and continue, because we're so proud of you being able to be successful in all fields of endeavors that you have been coming out of this community. We bump into each other every now and then.
Yeah, no question.
So whenever I see Ernest, I have to grab him. Hopefully I have my camera there, man.
I appreciate being on, man. I love what you do.
All right, you're a cool cat, man.
All right.
This has been Earnest Graham, football legend, here for the Unity in the Community basketball game. I don't think you're going to suit up, though.
No, I'm not suiting up. No,
Yeah. But he's still like he can go out there and run some stuff. Man. But you were essentially a halfback/fullback?
Halfback/fullback, yes.
Because the fullback is kind of fading away, right?
Yeah, it pretty much is. So that's why they kind of moved towards having guys who could play both positions.
Okay.
And
you got that money before the end, though.
I did.
I'm going to let you go, Ernest.
All right, man.
We'll be right back.
All right.